Sometimes I think though that that purpose, that craving for purpose, and let's stick in the spiritual sense,
Mhm.
is the root of the evil, perhaps the devil, if you're talking in a
Yeah.
Christian sense, in that, like, as you said, if you don't know your purpose, there's no peace.
Yeah.
And this drive for us to know our purpose, I think it's led, you could make an argument that it's led people to do some really horrible things. This
Yeah.
need to feel like I need to be something in this world. I need to
Yep.
mean something. I need to be significant. The ego, back to psychological
Yep.
terms, right, starts to form from that. Whereas, as you said, you look at the rest of nature and you say there seems to be a peace there. There's like an ecosystem at play. It works in harmony. And then our consciousness, our creation of these cravings, which appear to be non-biological, appear to be a lot of the root of the harm and the suffering that's happened in the
Mm.
world.
Yeah.
Like, is that possible? Like, is there any view that you see it in that way, or how do you think about that?
That's a great question. I love your the way you think. First off, I guess I would say I would want to blow up the myth that the earth is peaceful.
Fair enough.
Take humans out. It is a brutal.
Fair enough.
It is unbelievable. Have you ever seen an ant zoomed up close?
Mhm.
It's like, oh my gosh, just the freakiest creature. you know, and it's designed to just like wreak carnage on everything it touches. It's like the world is not peaceful, right? That would
Yeah,
be
it's true.
but on the other side of things, I believe when I talk about the five cravings of the soul, I think again you hit the nail on the head. These cravings are not good or bad unless we direct them towards good or bad places. Right. I think that is kind of all you mentioned significance. That's one of the cravings of the soul. I call it number 4.
Mm.
This need in each human being to feel special in some way. It cannot be, again, you don't see that in nature very often. In the odd places you could argue you see it once in a while, but every single human being has a craving for significance. And if they don't feel they're special in some way, again, there is no peace.
Mhm.
Right. And so I feel like um yeah, nature is not peaceful. But in order for us to have peace, we have to answer these questions about ourselves. And we're so busy. Like I said, we're done a great job answering these questions for the elephant, answering these questions right for the zebra, but we have not done a good job answering these questions for ourselves.
So you don't think, and maybe we can get into the five cravings as part of this, but if there was a choice, which I'm not saying there is a choice, but there was a
Mhm.
choice to either have these cravings and kind of
Yeah.
take the path you're saying, which is to understand them, which is
Yeah.
to understand why they're there, understand the greater picture and our purpose and all that, or to turn them off, to say, don't have those cravings anymore.
Yeah.
The view you have is that we, however we define being better off, are better off having these cravings. It's not that the cravings are the source of the issue.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
that we'd be better off without them. It's just that if we don't accept them, understand them, and try and kind of embrace them, that's the issue.
Yeah.
That's how you see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say first off, you can't turn off the cravings because the cravings define us.
Hmm.
Humanity is defined by these cravings. Um, but then I would also say, yes, give an example for significance. It's what are you going to do with it? Are you going to pursue significance by being the person who loves well, right? The person who builds people up, and your significance is found by being that anchor and that strength for other people? Or are you going to pursue significance the other way by, I'm going to squash you, I am going to demean you, I am going to knock you down so that I can feel significant? What are you going to do? Right. And so again, it's not the craving that's evil or bad or whatever words you want to use. It's how we choose to pursue it.
Let's use another example of that, which is real for me, and maybe it's just too individual, but I think you could abstract it out. Like, so those cravings, that craving for significance, in some ways, that's a bit of a, like, either side of the spectrum. Like, you could do something loving and positive and good, or you could do something hateful, harmful, hurt people. Sometimes I think of it even more narrower, where it's like, so let's take today as a perfect example. I have however many hours are left in my day in which I could spend that time. There is a craving, very real craving, to feel significant, to feel like there's a purpose and a meaning to me here. In some ways, I could spend that time with my family, taking care of my family. If I have a friend that's ill and I can spend time with him and care for him. And I, just being honest, there's this part of me that says, like, yeah, I understand the beauty in that, but that's not going to make me significant, right? Or I could work on my business, and I can work on this podcast and try and make a name for myself and be successful. And there's this poll that, like, says, as much as I understand conceptually that being loving, caring for people that are ill, that should be it, that should make me feel significant, it doesn't. It's not enough, at least, because I still feel pulled to do this other thing. How does that fit into this? Is that
Oh man,
outside of it? Is that just society pushing me? Like, what is that?
no, like I said, I like the way you think. You're absolutely right. Um, it is never enough. I can have, you know, we are never secure enough.
Mm,
We never quite feel independent enough. We never quite feel secure enough. I mean, significant enough. We never quite feel innocent enough. Those are all cravings of the soul, which
mm,
I talk about. But I believe that that's for a reason. That's why I call my book "The Magnetic Heart of God: Understanding the Five Cravings of Your Soul." These are non-biological cravings, which by definition means they cannot be satisfied non-biologically or in biology, right? They
mm.
have to be satisfied non-biologically. Sorry, I got that mixed up, right?
Yeah, I hear you.
You cannot satisfy a non-biological craving with biological source, right? And so ultimately, you're right. I believe, like I said, the magnetic heart of God, understanding the five cravings of your soul, that God placed these cravings, for some people, if they prefer to say the creator, our maker, for some people, because I don't want to lose people in the conversation,
Mhm.
our maker put these cravings within us for the purpose of drawing us back to himself. Because I believe that when you break it all down, we were not designed like other creatures to kind of um, live in this kind of full independence. We are designed at the core part of us to live in connection with our maker. And there's not enough money that'll fill the void. There's not enough sex that'll fill the void. There's not enough degrees you can earn that will fill the void. Ultimately, we are designed to live in connection with our maker. And to me, that is a profound and absolutely life revolutionary thought, right? Because you're right. You hit the nail on the head. There's nothing you can do that's going to make you feel quite significant enough.
Mhm.
And even when you attain it, there's always going to be the threat that you lose it,
Mm.
right? If as long as you're looking for it in places on earth. It's the same thing with security, right? It doesn't matter how high walls I build, right? How much money I have in the bank. I may have a moment of peace, a moment of satisfaction at that, but there'll always be the idea of, how can this be breached?
Mm.
Who's going to steal this? It's not enough. There's nothing on earth that can make it enough. And therefore, if biological things are not enough, the wise person is going to have to acknowledge, first off, we exist beyond biology. I have to start looking beyond biology for the answer to these questions.